Yeah, now, yeah, exactly. Pretty much, yeah. So, yeah. I actually went to had an interview with Costco. They hired me on this one. So I'm going to be working this month. I don't either wanted to check it out or possibly the whole overall all kinds of things, but they hire specifically the local hire like merchandise, stocking, things like that. Or like we could use for those kind of things. So, because you're dealing with the only bad, not bad, I'm not looking for bad things. So he was gone. It's well, the first 2 weeks. They called me and did an online application. The next day they called me. Next morning and said, like I said, interview. You know, this Monday. I said, unfortunately, so in that first week, they hired like 50 anyway, so they hired people full-time, part-time, so you know, one of the guys that I knew that retired, his must he's I'll review that for him. Retired.
Okay. Bye.
It's right here. Here in the Commissioner's meeting room. Jen Ross is doing our deputy clerk duties. Tricia Nielsen, the director of the DSD Department for Kenton County, is here with us. Dan Lister is on WebEx. He's the planner. He will be handling this case. We have people here in the meeting room. We have sign-up sheets, and those of you that wish to sign up, did all of you get to sign in? Okay. I believe I want to apologize. I know I do. The last time we did a WebEx hearing, all of this kind of stuff, this is a new generation, a new age for us type of a thing. And some had their hands up, we've got an email and stuff like that, and I apologize to you. Please know it was not intentional. The email we got with regard to needing the, not being identified and that stuff, and the information, it's in our packet. So we did get that, all commissioners did, and we read that. So if I'm speaking to you, I'm not sure, but I apologize, and we're very carefully watching for those little hands over on the side. So, okay. So at this time, before we get started, it is request by subdivision marker on behalf of Dale and Kathy Lee for preliminary plats, including irrigation and drainage plan for Oakley State subdivision, and that is case number SD 2020-0003. And we do have a few action items that will come after we have this hearing. Before we get started, we will have Shannon swear those people in. Let me see. We have Philip. Yes, you are on the line. Do you wish to speak today? You're not muted. Do you wish to speak, Philip? Okay, I'm hearing nothing. And I think that's good.
No, it just went off.
So we did?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jenny. So, Tricia Nelson, Darren Taylor, Jeannie Sharp, Colleen Madison, Dale Lee, Dion Webster. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and that the truth will help you God?
I do.
Okay, Dan.
Good morning, Commissioners, Madam Chair, Dan Lister, Planner for Debt Development Services. Before you today is, if you remember, August 31st, we had this case before us for a preliminary plat for Oakley Estate subdivision. It got tabled because of many items. One of them was we were waiting for the final letter from Canyon Highway District. We received kind of a preliminary letter, and a week after it was supposed to be their final decision on it. And I think Commissioner Van Beek had questions about the stub road going up to Kemp Road and things like that, and wanted to see what their final decision would be. And so that was one of the items. The other one was the addition of that 25-foot wide emergency secondary access required by fire district along lot 2, block 2, which is, kind of draw it out, this location here. And so we never got a letter from them at that point, as well as irrigation district, and our engineer who reviewed it had questions about the sizing of it. So there was a lot of information that we needed to bring back to review, and that's what is before you today. So staff provided you an addendum. So we did receive an email from Canyon Highway District number 4, and which it was given to you as exhibit number 12 as part of that addendum, basically saying what they gave you at the hearing, the last hearing is all you're going to really get. So they went through their final decision. They want to keep the stub road. They want the same conditions as that letter showed, except that they approved the preliminary plat subject to those conditions. I was not there at that board hearing. I think Aaron was, so if you have any questions about how that went, you may want to ask him. But when talking to Lenny Ricci over at Canyon Highway District 4, they did not make any changes to what he initially commented on the last letter. So no changes there. Middleton Fire District did submit a letter, and that is letter number 13, which they are fine with that 25-foot easement that goes through parcel 2 for that secondary access. They found that to be acceptable. Again, it was brought up at the last hearing that it has to meet our easement requirements, so it has to be at least 28 feet wide. So the applicant did submit an application to do an easement reduction, as well as brought up last time too, that they had to do a property boundary adjustment right here to adjust this out as shown on the plat, but it was never done through our process. So that is in the process right now. It has not been approved yet because there are some things that need to be fixed on it, but it is in our process right now. They did submit that application. We did reach out to Black Canyon Irrigation District just to make sure they are fine with that location of that easement. We reached out 3 times with the copy of the plat before you, and we received no comments. So I'm not, we tried, there's no comments received. Going back to Keller's comment, our county engineer's comments, the majority of that comment had to do with that easement, that secondary easement, the sizing of it. Other than that, they found the plat to be okay. So the other things that came up during this time, this tabling, is that letter from Colleen Mastasich, which goes back into her original concerns. I think she did state during our last hearing, I know she had issues with her online, but she did mention, and so did the other neighbors, regarding the distance between her property and the 5 other lots. And so you received that letter and her concerns about those lots being so close to her house. That was that's exhibit number 14. Number 15 is a letter from Darren Taylor, kind of providing pictures of what he saw when he drove out there, which is he found that the landscaping was in disarray, and still felt that they shouldn't have to provide that type of that landscaping or any type of special setbacks should be required as part of this application or this preliminary plat. And then this morning, there was a letter sent to you from Darren Taylor regarding the response to Ms. Messich's email. I personally have not had time to read it. I just know that I just got it and sent it to you, so I'm not quite sure what it's saying. Maybe Darren, at the time when he gets up, can kind of reiterate what his letter, his response was. So as stated in the addendum, staff, the plat before you is not the newest plat. I believe Mr. Taylor's working on showing one that shows the completed easement for that secondary access and things like that. So it's either up to the board to either today continue it again so we get a clean copy of the preliminary plat with a revised easement, or a staff provided a draft findings of fact, conclusions of law if you want to potentially approve it today. Again, the only real change that will happen is that easement and it being resized from 25 to 28. The rest of it are conditioned by other agencies. So staff, in that draft findings the facts and conclusions of law provided conditions that would address that easement size and review by fire district and highway or in irrigation district. So there are mechanisms in place to where the construction plan and final plat will be correct, and they will be able to demonstrate that through those conditions. So with that, staff is prepared to answer any questions. And yeah, my presentation is complete.
So Dan, the only question I have in reading through your email with the additional information that came through, I saw that you were recommending that well, you said table, but postpone or move this forward again to continue until you got an updated and accurate plat or a preliminary plat, or is that still your preferred mode of moving forward?
Yeah, we're kind of in between. So the plat, we always want a clean plat. Right now, we only have that letter from Keller. Part of our review and their review at the end, we have something that he's still saying that there's corrections that need to be made prior to the preliminary plat being approved. However, those corrections are basically that easement. We're talking about that secondary access, which this plat doesn't show those corrections. However, with conditions, they could make those corrections and show them on the final plat in the construction plan. So it's not anything major that couldn't be, we definitely don't need to wait if you don't want to. At the same time, the current preliminary plat doesn't show the correct easement. So
Okay,
it's up to, yeah.
Okay, but you're saying, what I think I'm hearing you saying is that could be dealt with in the conditions so that when we do get the correct one, it's in line with what is required. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely, yep.
Your final plat, right? Okay, thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you, Dr. And I am willing to hear testimony. I know we have people gathered here today, but as late as about 9:26, we were still receiving information. I understand the argument that we could condition and that is typically not how I do business. I like to have clean things on the record, and so I am willing to hear, but I am not in a position where I'm going to support an incomplete, and it is out of just an unbiased and fair representation for both sides. We have people objecting, we have people wanting to approve, and I am in favor of having the document not received. I don't like doing rush business, and I would like to have an accurate preliminary plat. Those are my comments, and I'm willing to hear testimony that's provided, but continuing only allows us to receive clean documentation and review everything.
Anything else for Dan? Okay. We'll start out with Darren Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Darren Taylor, 1434 New York Street, Middleton, Idaho, 3684. I'm here on behalf of Subdivision Maker LLC, who represents Bill and Kathy Lee, the owners of the property, and the applicant in this case. I was trying to find the exact date. I believe the application was filed the first couple of days of February 2020. And today is, of course, the 21st of September. So it's been a long walk as we've been through the start and duration of the COVID, as well as the engineers and surveyors being very busy. My last comment to you at the last hearing were that we had complied with the county standards, that we had complied the fire district and highway district, even though we hadn't received their verification of that compliance, and that we were requesting the Board of County Commissioners approve the preliminary plat. I'd like to start my comments today at that point. You heard Dan represent and say that the highway district on September 2nd did have its public hearing on the preliminary plat and did approve it, subject to the conditions that were included in their letters. It's those conditions that take place during construction. Regarding the fire district, when I say construction of the infrastructure, the roads and drains. The fire district submitted a letter, actually, let me go from, the fire district submitted a letter September 15th. Basically saying it recognized and acknowledged the plat, which is before you, which is the most recent copy of the plat. We're trying to create one that shows the emergency secondary access easement going all the way to the top of the road. But in the fire district September 15th letter, it says the developer will be responsible for supplying and installation of maximum force bollards in approved locations, basically at the end of the emergency secondary access. So we have the fire district saying, yeah, makes sense. As stands, as the Cal Associates letter, still based on the, from them, I think it stands August 20th, the preliminary plat before you, says we can't see where this emergency secondary access comes out at the southwest. And that's item number. Talking down anyway.
Try this.
Yes.
I don't know if it'll work on the wall, it works on the floor. Now you got yours on.
Now it's working. Are you talking about down here there? Yes. Yes, that is the location. Sorry. So they just requested, and we agree 100% fine, let's just amend the drawing and show that easement coming from our hearing before you, August 31st, our hearing in front of the county commission, the board, highway district board of commissioners was September 2nd. On September 3rd, we submitted our application to the Development Services Department, I believe it was the 3rd, to show or have the boundary adjustment shown here. So that was the 3rd. The 5th, I was driving out there, recognized what I was seeing along the east boundary of the subject property, looking looking east to the two parcels that abut the Oakley Estates property. That was the 5th. And on the 9th, I think Ms. Matisich sent her email on the 14th or 15th. The fire district sent its letter. And I just saw Ms. Matisich's email on Friday at 4:30-ish, and then replied first thing this morning with Exhibit 16, which I'd like to draw your attention to now. In Exhibit 16, using Google Earth, Dan, excuse me, Aaron, do we have that? Dan, can you put that on the screen? You have that? So everybody can see what we're talking about?
Yeah, I'll try to get his email up here. Hold on one moment. There. Here's his email, and here's one of the pictures. Is that the one you wanted there?
I was actually going to ask if you can go to Google Earth, but Madam Chair and Commissioner Dale wanted to see the email. Do you mind going to the text of the email first, and I'll start there quickly?
Madam Chair, that would help us. I don't think we have exhibit numbers.
Yeah, we don't have exhibit numbers on what we were given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one submitted today is this morning. On the screen. Okay, we have that.
You have that, that's number 17.
Oh, 17. Yeah. Got that one. And Dan, can you scroll down just to the number portion?
scroll.
Side
Show
property,
the south property.
south property,
Lots
north
of
property.
information.
The south is up here. There we go. That's the language there.
That thing moved.
Oh, it's moving on my side.
Yeah, it did, it moved on my screen too.
Oh, yeah, it's just not on the big screen.
It
That's
did move on our big one. Here you go.
There you go. Thank you, Dan, right there, fun. So commissioners, this morning, so you'll see right there, using Google Earth this morning, I measured following distances, Mattavich and Sharp property boundaries. On the south property, I think that's the Sharp property, it was 5 feet from the Oakley Estate property boundary, on the boundary of that property, 5 feet to the nearest vehicle in the north. I put northeast corner, that's in the area, it's actually the northwest corner. These refer to the images that were attached, that I took off before. So 5 feet to the nearest vehicle in the northwest corner, 15 feet to the fifth wheel parked on the west side of the residence, that blocks views from the west side of the house. 22 feet to the southwest corner of the house. The front door of that house faces north. That's going to say it's on the east side of the fifth wheel. And then the final sentence for the south property is the photo I took and emailed to you September 5th at 1:29 p.m. Verify, or actually 2 photos, to verify the location of the vehicle, shed, the hole and broken concrete pipe, and the lead. Dan, can you put up that image of the south property that was attached to the email? That's the north property. Leave the south side of the road. There it is. Thank you. And can you raise that to higher on the screen? Very good. Thank you. Commissioners, what I just described measurement-wise were the distance from the property boundary right here to that vehicle, 5 feet, 15 feet, and once again, I was using Google Earth measurement tool, so these are approximate numbers. 15 feet from the property boundary to the fifth wheel, 21 feet, 22 feet, I can't remember which one it was, from the property boundary to that southwest corner of the house, the front door of the house faces north. And you'll see Purple Sage Road up here in the northeast corner of the photo, the berm that exists in between Purple Sage and Little Creek Ranch Estates number 1 subdivision. And then the entire east boundary of the Sharp property, I said east boundary, west boundary of the Sharp property. And you'll just notice that it's flat open area. If you look at the photos that I took when I drove out there and emailed September 5th, you'll see a pile of concrete. I'm thinking of this pile about right here. There are weeds, at least waist height, all the way along this boundary. But the concrete are really good pieces when you stand out in the September 5th photo. Dan, can we go back to the email text? Thank you. And the north property. Commissioners, have about 3 minutes. So on the north property, 13 feet to the rear of the RV parked between the garage and the Oakley Estates property, so the garage is the house on the side. It's 96 feet from the property line to the garage. 96 to the garage, 13 to the rear of the RV park there. The tree is in a north-south row along the west boundary, block views west from the backyard of that house. And the front door of that house faces south. And it's on the east side of the RV and garage. So that actually should have said. The photo I took and emailed to you September 5th verify the location of the RV, the garage, the trees. Dan, can we look at the aerial map for the, yeah, can you please slide it to the top of the screen? Thank you, Dan. That's it. Commissioners, with the pointer, I'm pointing at the entire west boundary of the Mattafich property, or what I believe is the Mattafich property. The 13 feet from the Oakley Estates boundary to the RV, or the fifth wheel, is actually measured at the northwest portion of the unfenced frontage of that property. 96 feet from the property boundary to the garage. Front door of the house faces south on the east side of the garage or shed. You'll see a fence, east-west fence, separating the front yard from the backyard of the house. The backyard has a swimming pool, which is bordered with trees along the north boundary and trees along the west boundary. So if this is the Mattafich property, the views to the west, to the Oakley Estates property, from the garage, the house, with 2 lines of trees blocking it, from the backyard, it is undiscernible to me. I don't see further that is. Once again, the entire west boundary is flat. The photos I took and sent to you on the 5th show features solid waste bags along this west boundary. And you'll notice that this email references a burn in between phase 1 and phase 2 to the north. And I think this property all belongs to the Mattafiches. And to the east of the Mattafiches, their property includes this, I'm going to call it unimproved area to the north of it. So I'm not even seeing the burn that she's referring to that protects their privacy and beautiful subdivision.
Okay, we'll
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted you to know I understand their feelings about having people come in and houses being constructed to the left of them and changing what they've been looking at for years. That I understand their thought process about how houses being built over here might devalue their property or might interfere with their livelihood on the property based on what I am observing from Google Earth and from the photo that's
Thank you. And I appreciate the level of detail that you're providing. I really do. I am looking for the September 5th. So I don't have anything from subdivision maker or from their field. Do you have copies of that?
I actually did not email them to you directly. I submitted them to them. You should be able to forward them. And Chair, final comment.
Is there exhibit 15 on the addendum that we haven't come up Friday? It helps with the argument.
I remember definitely sorry, that's right. Commissioner Clyde is listening to that. My final comments are for the sake of blocking everybody's vision. We reflect what our surveyor and engineers do what I would consider and they would consider a simple change to the preliminary plat and showing that emergency secondary access easement at 28 feet instead of 25 feet, so changing the number, 2 numbers to show me 5. And extending that easement over to intersect with and include Purple State Road and driveway of the applicant. And here we are 3 weeks later and we don't have the drawing. And it's not for the county planner not trying to call the city multiple times to their from 3 calls into the Bureau or the Black Canyon Irrigation District. folks are just really busy. And we agree, and we agree with staff, that it's cleaner and nicer to have a preliminary plat that's a drawing, one drawing, that shows the approved preliminary plat. What we are requesting is, because we don't know how long that will take. I would have thought 3 weeks would have been enough. So is the right answer for another 3 weeks? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 1? Is it another month? Because we didn't know, I suggested and recommended that we have an approval with the conditions, which are very well documented and known, and that staff be able to look at the plat and see if the easement is 28 on 25 and extends over the Purple Bay Road. And I agree, if staff wants to get an updated letter from Keller Associates, fine, from the irrigation district, fine. It doesn't change the technical compliance with the drawing of the plat. All the conditions, other than the drawing, that I just showed, are conditions that have to do with construction of infrastructure and take place later, which we will be back before the county for of those improvements. And they're actually required by the county for to submit an engineer statement that we comply with the conditions and constructed the roads improvement according to standards. We feel like we make every effort to do what we can to comply with the county requirements highway and fire. Regarding a discussion about a non-preliminary item by a neighborly item, a burn along the east boundary and south of phase 1 of the subdivision. To me, as I mentioned earlier, makes more sense on the understanding theme. And I look at the ground, it makes less sense to me as I understand the thought process behind it. There is no left from either of the properties.
There's no question.
Due to the left from either of the properties, and their movement of their land is not not what I expected to see in the girl out there, based on what I've seen about how nice it is. I've seen the overall subdivision, neat, crisp, clean, understood. That's not what I saw on the south boundary of Logan Creek Ranch Estate on 1 or the west.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions for us? And so I have a question on exactly what you're going to say. That has not been approved, is my understanding, in the conditions of approval that before us today. That's the first thing. That's true, Dan.
Through the chair, say that again one more time. I missed that.
That the condition of a berm has not been included with the staff report on, like, as a condition of approval, correct?
Correct, Madam Chair. Through the chair, yes, there's no conditions as part of this for any type of landscaping or fencing, any of that as part of that.
Okay, thank you. And then the other thing that was suggested by, person in opposition is to create a 50-foot setback rather than a 20-foot setback. And I did not see that included as a condition of approval, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And then, Dan, do you have the photographs that Mr. Taylor is referencing that was sent to you on September 5th? I'm sorry, there's just a lot of information here.
Is Exhibit 15 of the addendum that was provided?
Madam Chair, Dan, can you put that up on the screen?
That would be helpful because I've got quite a bit of paperwork here.
The 15 pictures, not those, if they were.
I just think make sure they Dan can put those on the screen, that would be helpful.
It'll take a moment. Hold on.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh.
Madam Chair, I remember talking and calling that out. Mr. Taylor, your point is, particularly the measurements on Google Earth for the existing residence is to indicate that the setbacks that are being requested from 20 or 50 feet are not being met by the people that are objecting. Is that true?
Madam Chair, no. My point was that I want to get in front of the decision makers, the actual distances that's measured from Google Earth. Distances from the existing property boundary, not to infer that they're not doing it, so we don't have to. But to say, especially for the north property, it's 96 feet from the boundary to the garage. On the southern parcel, it's 20 feet roughly from the boundary to the southwest corner of the house. The garage, I'm not sure when you drive into that cul-de-sac, look straight at the house, which where the garage is on the eastern west side. My point was, there's already a fairly significant distance between both existing structures and where the structures on the Oakwood Estates property. 50 or 50. I did note in Ms. Message's email, she said that people may build up to the rear setback, which is 20 feet. So, worst case scenario, like the Sharps, residents on the Sharps front, that would be a minimum of 20 feet plus 20 feet on the Oakwood Estate side. So, in one location, worst case scenario, there may and there may not be a house built 20 feet from the rear on the Oakwood side, so 40 between. The point, there seems to be, especially for the north property, quite a bit of distance out there. Separation, so no need for a 50-foot additional or a 50 instead of a 20.
And I appreciate that clarification because we've had issues come before the board where if there are conditions like either in advancing or the condition of approval on the plat, it does make it empty in the future if that's not well thought out by the board. So I appreciate your clarification on that and thank you for not making that change. Thank you for just making a statement of fact that there will be worst case scenario, what I heard you say, 40 feet between buildings on, if they each abided by that 20-foot setback on the commercial.
Anything else, Mr.
Can you photo? You please scroll down to the third photo. Madam Chair, I'm so sorry. Just requested to these photos.
Yes, it's my request, Madam Chair, thank you.
Rotate. You may not be able to rotate that photo. I don't know.
I don't think, once it's on there, yeah.
Your extra flexibility will come.
And that's it. Thank you. One of the things that I think was indicated in that this was meant to be a walking path, not necessarily a landscaper. And some of those, I know so well may seem just a statement of record, not necessarily pointing out this one in particular. But unless the homeowner is located or I've seen it indicate the statement, making intentional efforts to mitigate the needs and problems that occur on there, they can become places that are not desirable to look at rather than places that, attract a person.
So, Dan, that's the second of three pictures. Can you go back to the first one, which does show the berm, I believe?
Third one shows that one, right there.
Yeah. There you go, it's coming up. There. And then the third one down would show the other, like Pam was saying, it's, the other one rotated.
Now go to the next one. There,
Not quite the same, but.
not quite the same, but it's.
So that field that's there, is that on the west side of those houses? That is? Okay. And Chair, Mr. Dale, yes, the field is the Oak Davis property. And that's on the left of those houses, right? That's orient myself, directly north of the house. Okay. Being a former Cub Scout, I'd like to know which direction is north. Cub Scout, but never made the Boy Scout.
Okay, anything else for
No, thank you.
Mr. Taylor? Thank you. Next is Dale, we do have you signed up to testify, do you wish to?
I'm only, if you have questions.
Okay, you have nothing to add then, okay. Yes,
I have a question for Mr. Lee, and if we,
you have to,
thank you, I still need your name and address.
Name Dale Lee, 9640 Purple Sage Road, Middleton, Idaho.
And thank you for coming in. Could you reiterate for the board what you envision with your property? Tell us about what this will look like to you and what kind of development and how it will interface with the property from this point.
Oh, yeah, I guess, excuse me. The vision that we have is that all of these lots, for one, will have pressurized irrigation. So I would expect lawns, pastures, trees, whatever, along with,
I never looked at roads.
substantial housing. I'm not sure how to say that, but not motor homes, not manufactured homes, not mobile homes.
Hey.
And in three phases, first phase being the one that we're most focused on.
Sorry.
16 lots in that one. And they range from 1 acre. I think the largest is 2 acre. And what else can I add, sir, for you? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm just wanting to recap, but because anytime there's a neighbor that comes in, there's concern that what I've seen and read in here, that it will not add to the value of surrounding property or that kind of thing. So we have a homeowners association kind of thing.
We will have a water users association, and there'll be architectural requirements that we will approve, and so CC&R is what part of the actual HOA. Well, I have personal thoughts about those. May I just add one other point with what Darren has put out there is that the berms around Willow Creek Estates number 1 are only on 3 sides, not on the side that's adjacent to our property. But if you continue with that development that was phased, there's no berms on Willow Creek Estate 2 or 3, except for the berm that's between 1 and 2. And put in there at the time of development at first. So
One last question. Are you going to continue to live there? That's your plan?
that's our plan.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Lee, how long have you owned the property?
We purchased that in 1980.
1988. Okay, so that is your investment? Is that your retirement? Is your
That was,
your
yeah, that was the original plan. I actually have an aerial photo of the whole property with a fake $1 million bill for what that's worth. But yeah, that
was our intent. The original intent, which I don't mean to bring this legal thing back up, but our original intent was to try to keep it more agricultural than dropping it down to 1 acre lot. In phase what is now 2 and 3, the original intent there, because I thought I had an agreement to have 3 approaches to Kemp Road. Like I said, I don't mean to bring this up as an argument, but I'm just giving you some history. We would have 3 approaches there that we could use and put 6 houses at 4 acre each. That was the original intent, and that was my retirement spaced out of selling 1 lot each year since around 2011. That's when I retired and said, okay, it's time to move forward on the plan.
Chair, just for clarification, you were the property owner for Willow Creek Estates that others built out, is that true? No, that's not true.
No. I can show you what that confusion probably was. I think this was my property right here, this corner, like 1.8 acres or something. Willow Creek development needed to cross here with the siphon, which normally the canal ran way back over here. So I sold them that with the agreement that I got the 3 approaches.
Yeah,
And that was that little piece out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Okay, and now we have Jamie Sharp. Name and address, please, Jamie.
My name is Jamie Sharp, and I live at 9221 Bellevue Drive, Middleton, 83644. So I'm in opposition because of the density that's planned. I feel like I can totally respect Mr. Lee's nest egg, as you say. My grandpa was a farmer, I get it. I understand that that's how these people, that's their retirement, but this will greatly affect our subdivision. As far as him saying that there's no views, my phone speaks otherwise. This is why there has been no landscaping on our part, because I would much rather look at beautiful fields and sunsets in the evening than put up that tree. But if I have to choose between houses and trees, I'm gonna pick trees. As far as our landscaping firm goes in the back, Mr. Taylor said that it is an array. The definition of landscaping is the process of making a yard or other piece of land more attractive by alternating the existing design, adding ornamental features, and planting trees and shrubs. Somebody's dislike of what I think is landscaping, it's just difference of opinion. Our subdivision has been established for over 20 years. That's part of what drew my husband and I out there. The end of this private cul-de-sac was that it was mature landscaping and not clean, crisp, like all of the stuff that's in town. My other arguments are the school district. I have 2 young kids in Middleton School District, and I know that they're filling up, and all of these subdivisions keep going up with multiple houses. There's another one right up the road from us on Lansing, development. Where are they gonna put all these kids? Passing all of this off and saying, well, we can't deny it, but it's just become a runaway train. It seems like everybody says, well, we can't deny that, we'll figure it out later. Well, nothing ever gets caught up. We barely got our levy to pass this last night, thank goodness, which by no means is going to take us in a situation to take on many more kids. It's keeping us afloat right now. So, as far as Colleen and Jim's property, I've been in their backyard. Their property does sit down a lot lower than us. So, houses right there on that fence line will literally be looking into their backyard, especially if they're 2-level homes. The concrete pile, as Mr. Lee said, it is not a concrete pile, that's our wood pile. And my husband and I, our children are actively involved in 4-H. We've got animals, so we don't have a perfectly clean property. We like living in the country. My husband travels every other week for work. And like I said, we've got 2 young kids. We're definitely doing the best that we can. There's improvements that we would like to see, but I would really like to see some sort of privacy between us and the newer subdivision. That's not what we had in mind. And all of the other new subdivisions going out there, there's one on Duff that has landscaping, a slight berm built up, newer subdivision. This is backing up to a subdivision that has been existing for over 20 years. I don't think that it's unreasonable to ask them to put in some sort of privacy between us and them. They keep talking about how they want to be neighborly, and so far, everything that we have asked, they're not willing to do something about. So,
What size lots are in your subdivision?
we have, I think it's 2.43 is our property, and that was because we bought that easement from the homeowners association when we bought our place. Do you know,
Is your subdivision zoned RR?
they've lived there longer than I have. Is it RR or?
2 acres is RR.
So,
Mr. Chair, the parcels are zoned agricultural.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
And I do have another thing to add. When we first started all of this with planning and zoning for their rezoning from RR to R1, they were unanimously denied by planning and zoning. And one of the big issues that I think he was the chairman for commission, I don't have my paperwork and his name, but he was a retired gold digger, and he said that the water out there, he's very familiar with that land, and he considered it to be chewed in. So I'm not against them building. I know that that's their property. I would just ask that they spread it out a little bit more and take into consideration our property.
A fence isn't good?
I would like to see some landscaping, like trees, a berm, something more natural. We have, our subdivision has all logical fencing around it. We don't have any of that vinyl fencing. And trees. Oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't hold up well for livestock. Yeah, so, forgive me.
Just a quick clarification question. Are you from Willow, you drive, are you on the north side or south side?
I'm on the north.
The north side, okay, all right.
And yes, so the concrete pipes that they're talking about are actually on the lee side of the fence. If that fence is actually where it's supposed to be placed, which is why my husband hasn't done anything. But they're on their property. I assume that they are part of the irrigation and all of that, or pieces from that, so we haven't touched that.
Commissioner Van Beek?
So does your subdivision have anything that DNR, HOA, anything? We do. Our homeowners association has had kind of a rough start. We've lived there for 8 years now. We bought our home from somebody who purchased it and flipped it. It was bank owned before that. We've had we're the 4th house on that street that has been sold in the last little bit. We did recently re-elect new officers for our homeowners association. We're currently working on that berm, getting the sprinklers all fixed up, but I know there was some lax time where neighbors were trying to work with each other, people had moved away, people had come in, so it is, it's something that's being worked on. Do you know the statute of limitations on your HOA or CTO? I don't. And then question for Trish, how far away is this development from city services, and is it in an area of impact?
Through the chair, the property, there's no city services near that area. So it's pretty far away. I don't know exactly how far, but it's not close.
Okay, and do you have anything from the map that I occasionally reference that shows the aquifers and recharge level for the valley?
I do not have that available.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask something else as well? My husband has been very careful as far as burning. We do our own a weed burner, but he's been very careful as far as burning weeds along that fence line. because he does not want to start any fires on Mr. Lee's field. So he's our Cub master over my kid's Cub Scout pack, and he's very much into safety, so that is another hurdle that we've had with that. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Jeannie. Colleen? Madison?
Good job.
Name and address, please.
Hello, I'm Colleen Matisich. I live at 9222 Willow View Drive, Middleton, Idaho 83644. We have the property on the north, Jamie is on the south side of Willow View Drive. I've been a little frustrated this morning because none of this addendum that you are speaking of was on the website. So we have no idea what the letters from the highway district or the fire district or the pictures that Mr. Taylor is talking about, we've not seen any of them. They're not available to us. So it just feels like the transparency on everything has been lacking with the problems that we had, and I appreciate your apologies with the WebEx meeting last time and not having the documents excuse me, available right now. It's more than frustrating. We're like Jamie, understanding that the Lees have this right to develop, and really we totally understand that. But we just would like to have less impact on our way of life and our privacy. The Lees that Mr. Taylor is talking about do not belong to our property. They are all along the fence line on the side. It's frustrating to have him sit here and make it sound like we are not, I don't even really know what the word is, that we are not good homeowners, that we live in a mess. And that's kind of how it felt. Maybe it was a little personal, but it was a little frustrating. Yes, we would like to have a berm separating them. And I would think that any homeowner in the new proposed subdivision would want that as well, some sort of a separation between the subdivisions. They want to move out there for the same reasons why we live out there. Not to be on top of neighbors and not to be looking into someone's patio. I would think anyone who buys a lot there, that was the reason that they would, or the reason why they would want to do that. And my email to you said, yes, I do believe that because we've got 5 parcels along just those 2 parcels, that we will see light, and we will probably end up looking at the back of an outbuilding or the back of the property if there's any more separation between 2 subdivisions. And I'm not really sure what state this picture is from. It doesn't look like it's very, the berm is along the very back between Willow Creek Ranch Estates 1 and 2 is a very beautiful berm that they put in, Willow Creek Ranch Estates number 2 put in. We had a lot of trouble with our water on the Purple Sage side, so yeah, it doesn't look as wonderful as it should, but we've had a lot of problems with that as well, and the water on that pond here. And with only 12 homeowners, it's the more difficult part to take care of. And could you expand on that control? I heard Mr. Sharp say that there were some issues with the sprinklers. You're indicating there's issues with the well. Is it both? Can you provide service? I think it's both. We have struggled trying to keep the grass on that berm as well as we should. Like this area that you're at has 12, so phase, whatever phase you're in. We're in the first phase, yes. And how many second phase have? Maybe 10? Oh, there, oh, second. So that must be Peterson Homes in that one. And I guess you can do all the measurements you want from fence line to our door or to our back door or our kitchen, but it really is gonna affect us. And we understand nobody's right to build the property. We had just hoped that it would be a more neighborly process. There's never been a meeting ever with the homeowners in Willow Creek Branch Estates number 1. Not ever. And so it's just a little frustrating that we're having to go through this. Okay.
People don't even know.
I know. Craziness.
What's going on?
Oh, you know.
People know. Look at you. When you wear that shirt, I had to see you first. Nobody else.
Just bothered me.
Oh, where did they change? You look like your eyes is like.
Well, I just have to. They took away my computer in there, so I have to live stream all this stuff from here. So I can't really do
Why
my.
did you do that room?
You put less in there. Less is gonna run security for facilities out of
Well,
there.
you can your stuff.
I know. That's okay. Maybe he'll share some space with me.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
If it was a woman, we always like we want everything.
Well, they
for us.
want
But
everything.
maybe-
Les is laid back. He'll be like, sure, take it.
Yeah, he is. He's a very nice
Yeah,
guy.
he's good.
Oh, you have a very good day.
You too. Thank you.
I've never been able to say it like that. I remember Van. What was the last thing? Depends on my idea or if I want to get technical, I'll say my first name's Wanda. It's Michael Jones. This is from going on. I guess you're not allowed to blub on somebody's phone like that. Oh, an awful session. Is that what it's called? An awful session? We got some person to person.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for this live stream of this public hearing that's ran. It's still going on right now, so.
Is it for land use?
Yeah, some land use hearing there. Just closed public comment.
Well, they might be done then in a second.
But I think Tom's wrapping it up right now, so I'll be down there in a second.
I was looking for a Zoom link and there wasn't one. And I'm like, God damn it, I don't want to be there.
There's not a WebEx link?
No, not no.
I bet I can find you one if you want.
That's alright, I'll make an effort.
Thanks for asking.
female substandard. And I do have to say that these things that have said that, at the end of it makes you take listen.
Madam Chair, I agree with both what, Ms. said, what Commissioner Matthews said as well. That's the thing I've lost on, we really want to question the fact people, to make most of what we have going forward to, approve the preliminary class, the change that we made to the thing, first we find the federal, we want to that, we know it's on the final process, we will have to approve it at some